Hair loss. It affects tens of millions of men and women in Virginia and across the United States. And thousands of them take prescription drugs to try and stop their hair from falling out.
And those drugs all come with warnings, but some say they don't mention some of the most serious side effects. Tonight, our Melissa Hipolit introduces us to a man who says one popular hair loss drug destroyed his body, and not just while he took it, even after he stopped.
That was you.
That was me.
On the outside looking in.
I think people liked my class.
That's how Matthew Dershowitz sees his life these days.
Yeah, I used to make people do push-ups.
Up until a month ago, the 35-year-old taught fitness classes here at the Gold's Gym in Arlington, worked as a teacher in an area hospital, and had a successful tutoring business.
And I was running around town and loving life.
It all started about 1 year ago. Dershowitz woke up one day feeling lethargic and extremely anxious. He also lost his sex drive.
I mean, we're talking about a total system shutdown.
He couldn't figure out what was wrong. That's until he says he went online and searched for information about a drug he'd been taking for more than 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, my heart sank.
Dershowitz started taking the hair loss drug Propecia when a dermatologist told him he was losing hair.
When I was 23 years old, which 23-year-old wants to lose their hair?
He says his doctor recommended it.
We talked about side effects, and she assured me it was very safe, and like all drugs, you could stop it, and at any time, you'd be okay.
But Dershowitz says he has not been okay. He says he stopped taking the drug in December of last year, hoping his symptoms would go away. But in fact, he says, they only got worse.
My arms, which used to be pumping out of my shirt, my body is completely atrophied. I lost 20 pounds in just over 3 months.
This email shows a neurologist in New York City diagnosed Dershowitz with post-finasteride syndrome. Finasteride is the clinical name for Propecia.
We have no way to reverse this.
Dr. Michael Irwig is an endocrinologist at George Washington University. He says he sees a lot of patients suffering from post-finasteride syndrome.
They may have anxiety, depression, sleeping problems, low energy.
In fact, his research led the FDA to enhance the labeling on Propecia 3 years ago. It now requires the drug's maker, Merck, to include persistent sexual side effects on its labels. But he says those labels need the FDA's strongest warning to address other life-altering side effects he says he's uncovered through his research, including serious depression and suicide.
I'm aware of, 5 to 10 suicides which have been associated with this medicine.
Irwig also points to a study just released by Northwestern University School of Medicine and published in the Journal of the American Medical Association that raises questions about the clinical trials Merck conducted prior to first releasing Propecia.
It found that all of these trials did such a poor job at looking at risk and at safety. So they didn't assess side effects well, and they didn't report these in their findings.
Still, Merck defends the safety and efficacy profile of Propecia. In a statement provided to CBS 6, a spokesperson wrote, quote, Merck conducted well-designed clinical trials and stands behind the results, which were reported to the FDA and regulatory agencies around the world, end quote.
I'm ready to beat this.
Dershowitz still holds out hope that he'll one day return to his old self.
This is me right over here. I'm the good-looking guy.
But in the meantime, he wants to warn others to think about what risks they are willing to take to be happy with who they see in the mirror.
If their doctor had told them this might mess you up for life, do you still want to take this drug? No one would have said yes.
Now, it's important to note that Dr. Irwig says clinical trials found fewer than 1% of people who have taken Propecia undergo those persistent or permanent sexual side effects. Working for you tonight, I'm Melissa Hipolit for CBS 6.
Now from